Welcome back. The state baseball tournament is finally here. A few area teams hitting the field for this year's action. In Class 2A, Maple River, the 7 seed battling 2nd seeded Perham. If you're a fan of pitchers duels, you're in luck. Eagles with Gavin Holverson on the hill, senior mixing it up early, and it pays off with a couple of strikeouts in the first inning. Top half of the second, Ashton Detloff is also dealing for Perham. Southpaw with the backwards K. Then he'll take something off of this pitch, gets the swing and a miss. Through 1.5 innings of this state quarterfinals matchup, it's scoreless between these two teams. Top half of the third, Detloff still going strong. Check out the windup, some deception in there, and the Eagles are having a tough time putting the ball in play against the Minnesota Crookston commit. Holverson keeps answering in the bottom half of the inning, freezes the hitter for another strikeout, then right-hander able to clip the outside part of the plate for another K. Through 3 innings, Eagles hanging tough with Perham. Top half of the fourth, Holverson sets the table offensively with a leadoff infield single. Later, Caleb Thompson works a walk. First and second with nobody out for the Eagles. Detloff works out of trouble by adding 2 more strikeouts to get out of the inning without allowing a run. Perham strikes in the bottom half. Carson Zize serves a single into left field to score 1 run and break the 0-0 tie. Yellow Jackets still threatening in the bottom half. Here comes the insurance. Seth Urbach gets a single through the left side of the infield. Another run scores to make it 2-0. Perham goes on to win this state quarterfinals matchup by that score. They head to the semifinals while the Eagles drop to the consolation bracket and will play Pierce tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning from St. Cloud Orthopedics Field.